Hello, my dear students. Welcome to Gurukul Academy. I am sharing some valuable tips how to score 100% marks in 10th CBSE chemistry. Let us first assess the question paper for this year. And here is the typology of questions. The very short answer questions include the objective type questions, which are asked for 1 mark. The assertion reasoning type questions carry 1 mark each. The short answer questions can be asked for 2 marks or for 3 marks. The long answer questions are for 5 marks. And you have the source based, the case based, the passage based, and integrated assessment questions, which can be asked for 1 mark, 2 marks, or for 3 marks. First, let us study how is this year's question paper different from previous year papers. This year, source-based, case-based, passage-based questions are introduced which test your conceptual understanding of the subject. A grasping of concepts, thorough understanding of the chapters is essential for a good performance in the exam. All the questions asked are NCERT textbook based. Hence, a student should concentrate on reading and understanding the chapters for an efficient preparation. Maintain a separate notebook and jot down all the important points, formulae, reactions, assertion and reasoning questions, and also for practicing the diagrams. My dear students, in 10th CBSE chemistry, we have 5 chapters. The first one is the chemical reactions and equations. The second chapter is acids and bases. The third chapter is metals and nonmetals. The fourth one is carbon and its compounds. And the last chapter is the periodic classification of elements. Now first, let us take up the chapter-wise important concepts that a student has to prepare if you want to score 100% marks in chemistry this year. First chapter is chemical reactions and equations, and the second chapter is acids and bases. First, let us study all the important concepts that you need to be thorough with for an efficient preparation and for a best performance. First one, definition of a chemical reaction and equation. Need to balance a chemical equation. The types of chemical reactions, their observations with balanced equations. So a student need to practice on all the 4 types of chemical reactions: chemical combination, decomposition, displacement, and double decomposition reactions. Redox reactions, one need to know the definition of what is a redox reaction along with the suitable examples. Definition of what is oxidation, what is reduction from electronic concept point of view is very important. Oxidizing and reducing agents, how they are helping in the redox reactions, knowing this concept is very essential. Definition of corrosion, rancidity with examples. Along with this, you need to be very perfect with all the blue box questions, activities, diagrams, and NCERT textual exercises. Now, coming on to the second chapter, which is acids and bases. You should know what are acids, what are bases, their definitions, along with examples. Differences between acids and bases is most often asked question in 1 mark. You should know what are indicators, what are acid-base indicators, what are olfactory indicators, and what is the principle on which the olfactory indicators work. The pH concept is the most important concept in this chapter. The pH change and what is an universal indicator are most important. So we have seen that usually questions based on pH concept are most often asked from this chapter. So please brush up on the pH concept and solve as many examples as possible, as many questions as possible related to the pH change. Preparation and uses of sodium hydroxide, bleaching powder, washing soda, baking soda, plaster of Paris, water of crystallization are other most important concepts from this chapter. One should also know what are strong acids, what are strong bases, weak acids, weak bases, and their related examples. Knowing the pH of salts, whether the salts are acidic, basic, and neutral, also is one of the most important concepts from acids and bases. And you should also be very thorough with all the blue box questions, activities, diagrams, and NCERT textual exercises. Now coming on to chapter 3, which is metals and non-metals. So how should a student prepare himself or herself for metals and non-metals? You should know the properties of metals and non-metals, the reactivity series. How are the metals placed in the reactivity series? Differences between metals and non-metals based on the reactivities. Reaction of metals with air, reaction of metals with water, reaction of metals with acids. The increasing and decreasing order of their reactivities are most important and are often asked in 1 marks and 2 marks. The displacement reactions, the electronic configuration of some metals and non-metals up to electronic configuration 20. The formation and properties of ionic compounds, conduction of electricity by ionic compounds, knowing the electron dot structure, how the ionic compounds are formed, some calculated examples of sodium chloride, calcium chloride, hydrogen fluoride, sodium oxide, magnesium chloride are very important and they have to be practiced by the students. Apart from this, one should also be thorough with all the blue box questions, activities, diagrams, and NCERT textual exercises. Now coming on to chapter 4, which is carbon and its compounds. The versatile nature of carbon, knowing the concept of tetravalency and catenation is most important. Carbon and its properties, why carbon forms covalent bonds, and why carbon compounds are poor conductors of electricity. These are most often asked questions in 1 mark, 2 marks, also can be asked in 3 marks. Structure of covalent compound, single bond, double bond, and triple bond with various examples. They have to be practiced by the students. Saturated and unsaturated hydrocarbons with examples. Practicing the structure of benzene and cyclohexane. The concept of isomerism is most important concept of this chapter. And you can practice the structure of N-butane, isobutane, along with the structures and structural isomers of cyclopentane and pentane. Knowing homologous series and the basic concepts of IUPAC nomenclature are most important concepts that have to be brushed up by the students. Now, what is allotropy? What is the phenomenon of allotropy? The definition of allotropes. What are the different allotropes of carbon? Structures of diamond and graphite are most important. Along with this, please concentrate on all the blue box questions, activities, structures, and the NCERT textbook exercises. Now, let us discuss what are the most important questions and concepts that one has to be thorough with the last chapter, which is the periodic classification of elements. Learn all the concepts related to Dobriner triads, Newland's law of octaves, Mendeleev's periodic law statement, the limitations of Mendeleev's law, why are the gaps left in the periodic table, position of hydrogen, position of isotopes in Mendeleev's table are most important questions that can be asked in 1 mark and 2 marks. The modern periodic law, the statement and knowing the modern periodic table in detail is very, very essential. The arrangement of elements in groups and periods. Arrangement of metals, non-metals and metalloids in the periodic table. And one has to be thorough with all the table-based questions that can be asked in the exam. Then the knowing of electronic configuration of elements up to 20. And the following periodic trends both across a period and down the group has to be perfectly learnt by the students. So please concentrate on the following concepts, which is the periodic trends both across a period and down the group. This is related to how does the atomic size and the atomic radius vary both across a period and down the group. What is electropositivity? What is electronegativity? And how do these vary across a period and down the group? And how does the metallic character, the non-metallic character vary across both the period and down the group? What is ionization energy? What is valency? And how do the nature of oxides? These are the following periodic trends that need to be practiced, that need to be learned. How are the trends varying both across a period and down the group? Learning the definitions of atomic size, atomic radius, electropositivity, electronegativity, ionization energy or ionization potential, valency are very, very important. Finding the group number, the period number, and the valency of a known element based on electronic configuration also is very, very important. Along with this, please practice all the activities, the table-based questions, which are the most important in this chapter. Now, what is the best practice material? The best practice material is Oswald Question Bank in Chemistry, Oswald Sample Papers, and Golden Series textbook. Wishing my dear students all the very best. Practice makes the key for an efficient preparation. Solving Oswald Question Bank, sample papers, previous year's question papers will definitely give you the edge in your upcoming board exams. Remember, there is no substitute to hard work. Wishing you all the very best. Thank you very much.